Good afternoon, world. It is moments past noon in Waxahachie, Texas, deep in the heart of the Lone Star State. And here we are on the 25th of September. Remember when the month was just starting and
I
now it's
know it's
almost over?
flying by. It's
And you know
amazing.
what? I heard you say it the other day, but it's officially fall on the 21st. And when you wake up at 67 and then it's 83 later today, you
Yeah,
can't get any better than
it was
that.
nice. Yeah, it is.
Um,
It's very nice.
so here we are, broadcasting live from our palatial downtown studio in the shadows of the Ellis County Courthouse. And I'm your co host, Jeff Lynch. Capably manning the board is our man, Sam.
Sammy B.
Got to get them fingers in there. And to my right is our host, our buddy, my pal, your friend, Scott
Thank
Brooks.
you, bud. Welcome back from H Town. Jeff Fun?
Couple nights in H Town and 3 nights in San
Oh,
Antonio.
well.
And when was the last time? Well, I know you've got a young grandchild, but we were working on a 3-year-old and her cousin who's 3 a week from now, and her little sister, it's 1.5.
Yeah,
So it was a kid handful, but
I bet.
I handled it. I
Yeah.
handled it.
It's one of those deals where you love them while you're there, but man, when it's time to go, uh,
No, isn't that what
particularly
they always say about grandparents?
yeah,
Yeah,
when it's a few days, grandparents are apt to say, "Oh, thank goodness I can go home."
yeah.
But anyway, I'm glad you had a good time. We had a good time on Tuesday. We do the show over Tuesday and Thursday, noon to 1 o'clock. You know that by now. Jeff and I are uh, usually here. Jeff travels more than I do. We are going to be integrating Sammy into the show. So as I mentioned on Tuesday, there will be shows with me and Sammy, Sammy and Jeff, me and Jeff, and then we're working on some sort of rotation there. We'd like to be able to integrate Sammy and his generation into these shows and let you see hear a different perspective, particularly in light of Charlie Kirk being killed and what he did on campuses. We really think it's important that you all hear from a different generation. So we'll
And I
be
want to put you on the spot, but Sam, are you going to do anything to try to actively get your generation on the show?
I mean, there's always a possibility. I haven't really put it together yet. I'm still kind of just I miss Charlie, so I
Right.
mean, like, I can't just go out there and do what he did because it
No, I
takes
know. I'm
years.
not this. I'm just saying, you know, how are we going having you here? What are we going to do to get youth listening because you're here?
Well, just my words, and I
Yeah,
can do clips, post it on TikTok, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think it'll
Sammy
be good.
Sammy does some lives on his own and
Hmm.
sports related, and he gets a pretty decent following. I mentioned to Jeff earlier, Sammy and I starting next week are going to be taking together uh, online courses from Hillsdale College that will be, in some respects, it'll be refreshers for me, but it'll also be expanding my own knowledge
Hmm.
base, whether it be politics, culture, all sorts of things. Hillsdale, from a very conservative viewpoint, covers, but it will be an opportunity for Sammy to like we're starting out with the Constitution, so it's
Hmm.
Constitution 101, and then we'll go to Constitution 201, and it will get deeper into it. So at the end of it, assuming Sammy pays attention and take notes, he'll know a lot more about the Constitution than most in his age group, which was what was so attractive and in part amazing about Charlie. I mean, that man, when
Yeah.
you talk about Socrates, or you talk about Abraham Lincoln, or you talk about George Washington, or you talk about Margaret Thatcher or Plato, the man had the knowledge. And I would hope that Sammy would enjoy acquiring that knowledge so he can do what you asked him about,
Yeah,
you know?
and I think it will help on Today in History.
Yeah,
We're always getting things. Well, when did that Continental Congress? How did that all fit in? And then, when do we get different amendments
right.
coming in?
Yeah,
You know,
definitely. I mean, he'll be able to educate us and the audience. My favorite show, cable show is
hmm
Jesse Waters. I like the first 10 minutes of Gutfeld, but I really enjoy Jesse Waters. And he has a little sidekick named Johnny, about a little bit older than Sammy. And he sends Johnny out on task. You may have seen it
right.
before. And Johnny's a funny little guy. And he'll go to places, he'll go to the beach, Coney Island, or he'll go to New York City, or he'll go, and he's endearing, but he'll ask Sammy's his age group, his generation,
Right.
what w- what the most basic of questions, and these young people that he talks to, not all
Right.
of them, don't have a clue.
And the very best part of Kimmel's show always had been Guillermo, and
Yeah,
he does that, and
yeah,
uh, same type of thing. He's getting a lot of young people,
yeah.
and
So we want to kind of have the same effect. So that said, let's give you some updates for those of you that are watching that are golf fanatics. Golf fanatics usually swarm around the four majors. Swim around means, if you use a me example, I turn it's on, and it's going to be on
right,
in those cases for 4 straight days. The Ryder Cup, which is a every 2 year event here in the States this year, and then when it's not in the States, it's overseas somewhere. But it's the best, supposedly the best Europeans in the country, in the world, and the best Americans in the world. 12 on each team play each other, as you
right.
well know. So tomorrow it all starts, and it starts early. I better not have left that over there.
But at least it's not happening across the pond. It's a
No,
bit better.
it,
It's
yeah,
just it's Eastern time,
I don't
so
like it when we have to watch golf
right,
in another country, because it's wonky.
yeah.
But in this case, it's in right outside New York City at a course called Bethpage Black. Uh, Foursomes start
Which is
tomorrow.
actually in a state park in New
Yeah,
York.
it's a beautiful course. I've not been to it, but I've seen many pictures of it. It's a beautiful course. So tomorrow morning, 7:10 a.m. match one in the foursomes, which are alternating shots.
Hmm.
So that will be fun to watch. And then in the afternoon is four ball, which everybody uses their own ball, and the best score of the two-person team
Right.
is what they write down. So that all starts tomorrow. Foursomes match one starts at 7:10 a.m. In the afternoon. The first match is at 12:25 p.m.
If we're getting that on network,
I I believe that is on. I'm, it doesn't say on here, but I'm almost sure it's one of the major three
my Dallas
networks. I
Morning
think it's
News will have it.
NBC. I'm assuming it's NBC, but I don't know that for sure. All right, so you have that. We have the Marine Ball coming up in Waxahachie on November. Sammy, do you remember the exact date? We'll have more about it, but it's in the paper as well. We are a sponsor of this significant Marine Ball and are really looking forward to it. Uh, a lot of work is being put into it. Sammy is helping the Marines do their own podcasts, maybe two or three or four, however many they want to do. We've extended this room to them, the studio. So they'll be telling you more about it, but that will be coming in early November. I believe it's November the 10th, but we'll have more on that. We have
And this is bringing in people from how big an
it's the
area?
Marines in Ellis County
Oils,
primarily, but it's the Marine Ball that they're decked out in their whatever you call them.
dress blues.
Yeah, and so it'll be quite the ball, quite the gala. Um, we can say so long to the Rangers. They have been officially eliminated. They were right there. They were right there 2 weeks ago, and then went on a
They
dadgum
dropped 7 in a row, and they'd
seven in
had
a row, and then they won last night. But who cares now?
they had a little streak before that. You always look at the last 10, and they're 7-3, 8-2, 9-1, all these different combinations, and they were 16 of 20 in that stretch, and that's 800 ball. And you look at the standings, and no team is 800 ball. I think
Yeah,
Milwaukee's the highest in the
yeah,
low 600s.
yeah, no doubt. I just can't believe that they crashed and burned. And another team that's crashing and burning is Detroit Tigers. They've been overtaken by the Guardians, which the Guardians have won like 10 or 11 in a row.
Mm-hmm.
But the
But
Rangers are done.
they were playing on fumes
Yeah, I
all
mean,
along.
the Rangers are going to have to make some big changes in the offseason.
So, what do you think about Ochi? Is he under contract for next year?
I don't know.
I
Uh,
don't think he is.
he may not be. My guess is that they'll let Bochy tell him what he
Can you
wants to
look
do.
up how old Ochi is?
He's got to be in his 70s.
I thought he's like 71 or 2, which he's I wouldn't say he looks like a young 71 or 72.
No,
Well,
and he looks like he
I'm
needs
telling
a
you, I'm 70, and I know Bruce Bochy looks quite a
Well,
bit
it
older than
looks
I
like he
am.
needs a wheelchair every time he goes to the mound.
Yeah, that
It
too.
troubles me to watch that. But anyway, they're going to have to make some off season big changes in the off season.
That's my
Yeah,
year.
so
He's
he's
70, depending on
okay.
when his birthday is.
So we have the Cowboys. The Cowboys are 1-2. Got shellacked in Chicago. They play this Sunday night for the whole world to see against who? The Green Bay Packers and Micah.
And that game was so bad so early. They got
It
torched on
was
those two
awful.
long ones.
I don't. I mean, I think I think it's either going to be close and the Cowboys win, or the Cowboys are going to get shellacked, like really shellacked. So we'll see. But thank goodness I can hang on to my Bills because they play the Saints to go 4-0 this weekend.
And there's a nice little article in this morning's sports page. Yeah, Micah says, the people in Dallas still love me, which I don't know if it's Luca affection level.
No.
Uh, and he said, and we'll just see by the reaction that I'll get. But I know one thing for sure: there'll be about 24 people I know going crazy for me because I still own a suite at AT&T
Does he
Stadium.
really? Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it's Luca level.
I
And
don't
I
think
mean
so either.
I don't to me Micah didn't do anything other than just be a beast on the field, but he was injury prone and he never really endeared himself to Dallas fans. I
Yeah,
mean, he didn't.
and I heard the line early after that trade where players say he was really respected by the team, but he wasn't really liked. Even though
Yeah,
we knew that Dak and CD were bestest friends with him, that's just the fraternity of the
yeah,
highest paid guys on the team, right?
yeah. I would agree. The stars. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the schedule for this weekend. Did I see something that the Chiefs play the Ravens or no? They
Yes,
do.
they do.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So those two teams are 1-2
Hmm.
each, and you could make the argument that if they go 1-3, they're really behind the eight ball, particularly with uh the teams in their division. Particularly the Chiefs have the Chargers, I
Yeah,
think.
they do.
Um,
That's their
and the
threat.
Ravens, the Ravens are going to have to. The thing that Buffalo Bills need that they haven't had in a long time is home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
Yeah,
So when the Ravens, who are probably going to be there at the end, uh, lose these games, they're knocking themselves out of the
home
opportunity to
field.
have home field
Yeah.
advantage. So that's why the Bills have to win every game they can.
Yeah.
And Reed and I are going to the game,
Sunday night.
which we don't like going to night games, but we've got one of the great people in the world, my niece Carrie, who's an orthopedic PA doctor up in Minneapolis, and her husband Joe, who's just a terrific guy, and they're flying in for
Oh,
the
cool.
weekend for it.
That'll
So
be fun.
yeah.
It'll be a good game to watch. So there you have the updates on that sort of thing in terms of Tarnations. I do have some, but I'm gonna wait in a few minutes and have Sammy show you some videos. But I know you have a couple things you want to mention.
Well, I was surprised when I picked up the paper the other day and saw that the greatness of the Dallas Morning News, the liberal rag that it is, but we still subscribe. And you know what? We wouldn't be having today in history if we weren't pulling it from
Hmm.
there. I wouldn't have my Miss Manners and my Carolyn and my
Yeah.
dear Abby and my biased news and a pretty good editorial page. But they were sold, and this marks the first time since 1842 that the founding family and the descendants of our legendary founder G.B. Dealey, George Dealey,
Yeah.
do not own the Dallas Morning News. And the poem today we will do is about the paper. And one thing I liked in reading this is one of the great quotes that I always like to, that is part of the poem about acknowledging the right of the people to get from the newspaper both sides of the story. What comes before that is it says that the paper needs to build the news upon the rock of truth and righteousness, conduct it always upon the lines of fairness and integrity. And when you're saying that, in 1906
Yeah.
is when George Dealey is saying that, and the
Yeah.
paper's been around since 42. So you, from your life in the newspaper world, you have respect for the Hearst
Oh,
organization?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if I had to be sold, if I owned the Dallas Morning News and somebody came along that wanted to buy me, I would hope that it would be a company like Hearst, because the antithesis of a Hearst is a company like an Alden, which is a company that's bought up like uh, one of the LA papers, Chicago papers. They're destroying the papers. I mean, they skin them alive. And it ends up being just a joke of a company. A lot of people lose their jobs. So I'm glad that Hearst came along and bought the Dallas Morning News. Uh, it's a better for them than
And the
other
and the
option.
and the publisher Grant Moise, he will remain.
Yeah, good. All right, so let's talk about some things and watch a couple of videos. I want to start. Yeah, I didn't send you the. Was one of those videos that about going up the escalator? No, yeah. So we don't have that video, but as you all know, Trump addressed the UN this past early this week. I don't know if it's Monday or Tuesday, and had a stern speech. Basically, let them have it, and they need to have it. I mean, this is an institution that employs hundreds of people, and I don't know what it does, frankly. And the United States is I think by far the money contributor,
Always has been.
and Trump has basically said that's going to change. If it ever will, who knows? But Trump addressed them. That really isn't the story. The story is, if you've been following the news, that Trump and Melania were there when Trump spoke. Getting there, they all these other people have gone up the escalator, which was working just fine. Melania, followed by Trump and whomever else, get on it, and I mean, it doesn't even go maybe 2 or 3 or 4 steps.
Two.
Yeah, and it stops, and Trump, and really and truly, he's right. If it were me, I mean, and I'm not expecting it to stop, which they weren't expecting it to stop, I'd have probably tripped forward and landed
Right.
face first into an
Right.
escalator. But Melania didn't. She just caught it and briefly looked to her right, and then said, "Well, let's go. We'll walk up the dang thing."
She
Uh,
she she led the way, man.
so no sooner that happened than he gets in to give his speech, and the teleprompter stops and doesn't supposedly work. And there was one other thing that didn't happen. I think it's the sound system was malfunctioning as well. Uh, Trump was making a claim, and I totally agree with him that it was sabotage, that he was being sabotaged so as to make him look stupid, and he handled it all well. I mean, he's not like Kamala when she couldn't. She was at a campaign stop, and her teleprompter went out, and she was totally lost. Trump just kept going.
Yeah, what do you do whenever you're
Well, you
you
do. Well, you have it. They always have a book, like a notebook that has a
Oh,
speech in it.
okay.
But in Trump's case, he just said, "Well, my teleprompter just stopped," and he
Right.
was making light of it and having fun with it. He said, "Whoever running this thing, basically said needs to get another job." But
Hey, we get through our hour without a teleprompter. We
we
we, we
do.
have our notes,
I don't like
right?
teleprompters. Yeah, I mean, y- a few weeks ago, I was asked to give a special prayer in church to our pastor who has since left. I mean, it was his last day, and I take that stuff super serious. And I pray about it, and then I pray about what I'm going to say in my prayer, and then I have it written down
Yeah.
for me, and I can read it in a heartfelt way. Uh, I do like doing that, but when it comes to a speech that you're giving at the UN, you want to be able to get it right. Well, somebody's playing with it, and but he pulled it off, and I think it speaks to another one of those opportunities where somebody is in the background going, "Dad, damn it, we didn't get him this time either." Um, so that was pretty entertaining. I also want to mention that Charlie Kirk, there is discussion right now of with respect to our treasury, a silver dollar, 400,000 silver dollars with Charlie's image on it. That's being seriously discussed, and those, assuming that passes, those will be put into circulation. So you don't see any more silver dollars anywhere.
Who has to make an approval on
I,
that?
I
I I,
believe,
I can see a lot of pushback coming.
yeah, I think it's Congress. I think,
Mhm.
but Congress, the conservatives have the votes. So, uh, but and it's not to put in it's not to change a current coin. Really and truly, I mean, right now, I think on the silver dollar is John F. Kennedy, if I'm not mistaken, but those aren't in circulation really anymore. And so this would be 400,000, which I assume those are going to circulation and then just be either held on to by those that get one, or people would buy them or what have you. Uh, so it's not a monumental change. It's just an attempt to honor Charlie, and I think there will be the votes there to do it. But yeah, I don't. It's like we talked about the other day, that resolution condemning
R-
the
Right.
assassination. 54 people or 58 people said, I'm not voting for that. So yeah, it
Do
wouldn't get
you
through.
remember when the women's movement was really starting to really get its teeth in it, feet on the ground, and they begged and begged and begged for the Susan B.
Yeah.
Anthony, and what they do, they put out a silver dollar. It was about halfway between a quarter
Yeah, it was weird.
and a dollar, and it looked weird, and it was never really popular. And I'm thinking, if you people who wanted that are happy with the way it came out, I wouldn't be
I
very
wouldn't.
happy with it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's how they're going to approach this one. I picture a very bright, shiny, brand new coin
Well, it was bright and
that,
shiny. They're
yeah,
always bright and
yeah. But
shiny.
I mean, what I'm picturing is the bright, shiny silver, the size of the regular silver
Yeah,
dollar,
right.
uh, with Charlie's face on it in a quote. You know, one of his famous quotes. We'll see. As a conservative, I think it's a pretty cool idea. Let's talk about real quick the shooting in Dallas. So let me just set this up and then you can weigh in, Jeff, and Sammy has a video we want to show you. So we know yesterday morning at about 6:30, a 29-year-old man named Joshua John, I believe is his name,
Saw the picture of him last night on the news. 29,
Jahn.
dark, floppy hair,
Yep.
kind of greasy.
Yep. And he I heard more on the radio this morning about his family. His sister's got a long rap sheet, got tattoos all up in the neck and all that stuff. So you know, we should never judge somebody by that sort of thing, but it appears that it's a family with not, I don't know how to say this. It's a family capable of one or two of them in the family doing things that aren't good.
Right.
In this case, this guy goes up
Again on a
and
rooftop.
he did. I read this morning he had searched, and some of his searches were the Charlie Kirk actual the methods of the shooting and the rooftop and all that
Mhm.
sort of thing. So he went up on a rooftop in Dallas, and instead of aiming for anyone that he could or a specific person, he just started shooting. And but his target, to be certain, his target or targets were ICE agents. He wasn't there to kill the inmates or whatever detainees. He was there to kill the ICE agents, which comes from the rhetoric out there about ICE is the Gestapo. I mean, yeah, ICE is Gestapo. Nazis. They're taking people off the street, kidnapping people, all this other stuff. They wear their masks and without telling anybody why they wear masks for their own safety. But anyway, this guy was inspired by that, and then he shot three of them. Again, he didn't know who he was shooting. One of them died. So there we have it.
And all three of them were detainees.
Yeah, all three of them were detainees. And
Yeah.
no, but he was his. I mean, as we know, although there are still the left is still like what Charlie Kirk saying. We're not sure we know the motive here. With this, in this case, this guy had what anti-ice written on one of the bullets that he didn't use. So, uh, I mean, it's pretty clear to me. But like us, at least I should speak just for me. I'm sick of it. I mean, I'm sick of that kind of rhetoric. I'm sick of people like Gavin Newsom. I'm sick of uh, JB Pritzker. I'm sick of the left, all of it, just constantly telling the wackos in the world that the right, ICE, are killers. Essentially, that's what the Gestapo was, and because this is what happens. Um, so I want you guys to see this video. This is I don't. It's not very long. I'm going to play the whole video, but it's JD Vance in a speech on Tuesday. I believe it was Tuesday, talking about this and left nothing to the imagination, as you will hear, and then we'll get your take on it, Jeff and Sammy. You guys, yeah, play it.
And I think that is the most disgusting thing. The very people who keep us safe ought to be honored and protected and praised by Democrats and Republicans alike. It is time to stop the rhetorical assault on law enforcement. Because here's what happens. Because here's what happens when Democrats like Gavin Newsom did say that these people are part of an authoritarian government. When the left-wing media lies about what they're doing, when they lie about who they're arresting, when they lie about the actual job of law enforcement, what they're doing is encouraging crazy people to go and commit violence. You don't have to agree with my immigration policies. You don't have to agree with Donald Trump's immigration policies. But if your political rhetoric encourages violence against our law enforcement, you can go straight to hell, and you have no place in the political conversation of the United States of America.
So there you have it. Thoughts on that?
Mm,
You
uh,
agree with him?
yeah. Yeah.
You know, the thing about Vance is that Vance, we all know, I think it's pretty safe to say we agree, and if you don't, tell me. But I mean, it's probably 99.9% certain that J.D. Vance is going to be the presidential candidate
Right.
in 2028. The caveat being that, you know, he does something that sidetracks
Caveat being he's alive, you mean?
that, or that he does something really bizarre, or, you know, one of these moments that politicians end up cratering their own
Right.
candidacy.
Right.
But this is a guy who's saying he knows he's going to be the candidate, I would imagine, and he's setting the tone now for what his administration would be like. What's interesting, I don't know how you feel about this, but you know, Trump talks tough, and Trump's a gunslinger.
Yeah.
J.D. Vance goes about it a different way with the same sort of intensity. Trump wouldn't necessarily say you can go straight to hell, although we could picture him saying that. He would condemn it. But Charlie's saying to Gavin Newsom, who very well,
Charlie is saying
I'm sorry. JD's saying,
yeah.
they're one and the same sometimes to me, but JD's saying essentially to his, who will likely be his candidate, his opponent, you can go straight to hell if this is the way you're going to talk.
Haven't you seen in this time since early January when he came into that job, he gets stronger and stronger.
JD, yeah,
and more forceful and more free to speak his mind.
yeah, more authentic.
Yeah.
Do you believe we see what Gavin Newsom's doing, which is trying to become something he isn't, which JD Vance doesn't have any problem, at least for me, being authentic when he's in that kind of Clint Eastwood, you know, make my day kind of mode, which is what he was in that video. Every time I've seen Gavin in the past 2 months, he's trying to be like Trump.
Right.
Even last night, not last night, but maybe it was last night, Stephen Colbert, which I didn't watch, I've just seen the clips. So you got Gavin sitting there on Colbert's show, legs crossed, which is I sit with my legs crossed too, but and he's sitting like Obama used to sit. But then he starts calling Trump son of a with the B word, and he starts talking about how, you know, in tough Clint Eastwood ways, and it falls flat.
Well, but part of the difference between Newsom and JD is that Newsom is a career politician at age whatever he is. He's been in public office a long, long time.
Yeah.
JD, he had his time in the Senate, but he was in,
Yeah.
you know, he was a lawyer, and then he was an investment banker. He doesn't have the political baggage and history.
Right.
He has a freshness to him.
He does. I agree. And so I think we're watching these guys, although I know, at least I think I know, that JD means what we just heard. When I hear Newsom try to be all tough, and almost what Newsom doesn't seem to understand is that he's not only trying to sound like Trump, he's trying to be exactly like Trump, and he will never pull it off.
Well, he wants to be president.
And he talks about, he even uses the same kind of lingo, and like when Trump says, you know, Kimmel has no talent. He's just however he says it in a lot of different ways. Newsom trying to pull that off just doesn't work.
Right.
But there you have it. I think that JD Vance is saying enough. We're going to fix this before I hit the campaign trail in a few years. But I mean, how many more of these are we going to watch happen? I mean, I seriously, I mean, is anybody safe anymore in America? But anyway, I thought you all would like seeing that.
Yeah.
So we'll talk a little bit about Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel, as you all know, the Monday after the Wednesday on which Charlie was killed, Kimmel in his show, in his little monologue, said that, making fun of the right, was talking about how we refuse to, however he said it, we refuse uh, to believe that the person that did this is one of our own, and made fun of the way that Trump, uh, in a question by a reporter where Trump, obviously, there are guys, we're guys in here. As I said the other day on our show, there are some guys who will tell you what they feel and they let emotions go. There are some guys who are so stoic and they don't want you to see their emotion. They might answer your question one word and move to the next
That's
thing.
what he did. He shifted gears
He
and
did.
talked about the new ballroom that we're building.
Exactly. And so, as we know, Kimmel made fun of that, it was more like a 4-year-old mourning the death of a goldfish, and which is a bit, it's unnecessary, it's offensive. And he got suspended. Now he's back, not on all the networks or all the affiliates, but he's back. And so last night, was it last night or the night before? One of these
Tuesday
two
night.
nights, he got 6 million views,
Which was high for him.
big time high. It crushes. I don't think he was over 1 million normally. And in remember we talked about that 25 to 54-year-old, that the key demo for advertisers, he 126,000, something like that, almost nothing. So he's back, but obviously with an agreement that he would try to make nice. And I wanted you all, if you hadn't seen it, to hear how he went about making nice. So this is Jimmy Kimmel. I believe it was Tuesday night. So let's hear it, Sam, if you got it.
It was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't.
Great tears.
For those who think I did point a finger, I get why you're upset. If the situation was reversed, there's a good chance I'd have felt the same way. I have many friends and family members on the other side who I love and remain close to, even though we don't agree on politics at all. I don't think the murderer who shot Charlie Kirk represents anyone. This was a sick person who believed violence was a solution, and it isn't. Ever. Erica Kirk forgave the man who shot her husband. She forgave him. That is an example we should follow. Yeah. If you believe in the teachings of Jesus, as I do, there it was. That's it. A selfless act of grace, forgiveness from a grieving widow. It touched me deeply. And I hope it touches many. And if there's anything we should take from this tragedy to carry forward, I hope it can be that. This show is not important. What is important is that we get to live in a country that allows us to have a show like this. Yeah!
That's good, Sam.
And that was the biggest applause of the whole thing, was that statement.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys this: if you let's just pretend for a second we don't know who's saying those things. Meaning we're just focusing in on the sentiment, and what we hear is crying, and we hear is a profession that they're a Jesus follower, and that they admire Eric Kirk and all that. What if you didn't know who it was? What would you say about it?
Well, if you heard it by itself, that's one thing. But when you hear it as a makeup for what he'd already said, that's another thing. I thought the best thing he said was very, very early when he says, I'm going to tell you, you either like me or you don't like me. And what I have to say today, probably not going to change any of that because I stewed about what I was going to tell you. And that's what I came up with. And it was very true. Right?
Yep.
Now, the next thing he said, I almost wanted to puke. He said, so right after this happened, I texted on Instagram to Erica and her family. Hello, how about Guillermo, get the producer. Can you get my people to get their people on the phone? I would like to talk to Erica. And you text on Instagram.
Mhm.
What kind of baloney is that? And why are you making it so public
Yeah.
and drawing attention to yourself? That's before he had the monologue. Okay.
Mhm.
So I really didn't like that part. Um the whole issue of the free speech, which he does allude to, um, that is an important issue. And I think there was a case of incomplete connecting of the dots between the FCC, Trump, and the whole free speech issue. The way I saw it unravel, piecing pieces together, was yes, you did have Trump had been had been putting pressure on the FCC
Mhm.
about Kimmel, but what really got the FCC to move was when the Sinclair and the Nexstar, between them, they control the content that goes to over 100 different stations across the country. And what they were saying was that these 100 plus stations are coming to these two giants and saying, we don't like Jimmy Kimmel. We don't like his content.
Mhm.
Content. His ratings were down. His ad revenues were down. And you take all of that, and this that happened was the tip of the iceberg of what was underneath. And I don't know that that's getting enough press, but I know this. I picked up enough of it to know that that was a factor.
Yeah, I mean, if if I were in leadership of Sinclair or Nexstar or any other company that owned any one of these affiliates, well, it's fair to say that Jimmy Kimmel wouldn't have ever been on the show in the first place. But certainly, this is a guy who all of what you just said was that he's losing money. He's not serving any purpose. I mean, it would be one thing if he was losing money, but he was contributing to the health of this country and the growth of this country and the betterment of this country. But I don't know what he contributes, if anything. He's not that funny. Matter of fact, we could have played a lot more of the video, but in the remaining of in the remaining parts of the video, he said he turned himself into a victim by saying Trump has been after me and after this show, and he finally gets us suspended, and our audience shoots up to 6 million, as though that's going to stay. This time next week, I'll bet whatever you guys want to put out there that it won't be any higher than what it was before this. But he's basically playing that victim card. So, it's Jimmy Kimmel, and Jimmy Kimmel got his name to fame when he was on this show called Man Boy or something like that, and it was nothing short of just pure frat boy garbage. I mean, and he's had to deal with some of the awful things he said about women. He's almost a cad in that sense, where he's denigrated women and did vulgar things and said vulgar things. That's where this dude gets to start. And then he wants to come on and put Jesus. He wants to put Jesus as the premise for what he does. He's lucky he didn't get struck by lightning. So Jimmy Kimmel is, in my opinion, what's an example of what's wrong with this country.
I have heard, but I have not seen, and I'm sure the liberal media is not pushing to have it out. There are clips of him doing comedy sketches in
Oh yeah,
blackface,
there's
and you know how hard that was on
yeah, yeah,
Kavanaugh,
yeah. Well,
and
I mean,
um,
Kavanaugh and others who have had to deal with their blackface. Justin Trudeau in Canada was hammered for blackface, but Jimmy Kimmel did it. And what's interesting is that when I watch Jesse Waters and he does this, what we're doing, he'll put up that blackface.
right.
It's just pathetic. And the last thing I'll say on this is that Roseanne Barr was kicked off her show at the height of that show. We had Trump. Trump was kicked off of Twitter or X, off of Facebook. I didn't hear any of these people. Matter of fact, there are things we could show the audience, our audience, where Kamala, by example, said Trump should have been kicked off of these. It's better that we don't have him on these. And yet now they claim this guy is, you know,
And I saw this yesterday, and I didn't make any notes about it, but I remember enough of it to say that Google yesterday said that they have now decided that, um, yes, they were pushed by Joe
Yeah.
Biden to kick, and Google owns YouTube,
Yeah.
to kick people off of YouTube. Over 1,000 people in that category, and they were now reinstate those people
Yeah.
to
I saw
YouTube,
that.
and
Yeah.
it's just a
It's incredible. It really is incredible. So I say that
you talk about free speech. I mean, that's Biden. I
yeah.
can't believe it. I can't
Yeah, if
believe
there
it.
was anybody in the past 10 years that's infringed on the free speech of Americans, it is by far Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to hear this BS about, from Kimmel that Trump's got, if Trump got him suspended and kicked off, then he wouldn't have come back. The fact that that Jimmy Kimmel's back already, and again, not on Sinclair or Nexstar, but he's back, you have to be as dumb as dirt to not realize that Trump didn't pull any of those decisions.
I'd like to
Trump
know
wouldn't have let him
what
back.
percent of all the ABC affiliates are controlled by those two.
Yeah, I don't. That's a good question. We can look that up later. But anyway, there you have it with Jimmy Kimmel. I've never watched the show. I'll never watch it. I'll be happy to watch snippets of it for this purpose. But that 6 million, it wasn't there last night. It won't be there tonight, and it sure as heck won't be there next week, for sure. Let's talk about Kamala's book. So she started this little book tour, which I it's hard for me to imagine that somebody in her camp says, a book tour requires speeches and question and answers and interviews and everything that Kamala is really bad at. I mean, really bad at. So now all of what we experienced in the campaign in terms of her word salads and being made fun of and like, what is she talking about? That kind of stuff. That's starting to happen again with these interviews. So uh, parts of the book, are being revealed here. It's all of what I'm hearing is the left is so I don't know if the word is angered, but just wants her to go away. And there are many that believe she might run for something, but she'll never be elected to anything again. And I agree with that. But she's imploding some things on the left. One of the things in the book is that she didn't choose the person she wanted as her vice president,
Right.
which was Pete Buttigieg. I said that the other night when all of our kids were over for dinner, and they all laughed because it's a weird name, and I'm like, Buttigieg. I don't know how else to say it. That's how you say it.
It's
But anyway, so we know that Pete Buttigieg is a gay man, married, and got a kid. And so Kamala in her book says, it was too risky. Me as a black woman, which she's not really black.
I didn't really think the country was ready for that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then the whole Indian part of her background is just disappearing right
yeah,
now.
for sure. But that she said, as you just said, that she said it was too much of a risk for me to choose a gay man as the vice president of the United States. So last night, or I think it was last night, Rachel Maddow, which again, if for those of us on the right, we ought to watch what's going on the left. So to the chagrin of my beautiful wife, I will sometimes listen to Rachel Maddow. She's only one night a week now, but when she was 5 nights a week, I would listen to her and learn what their approach. So last night, Rachel Maddow, who's gay herself, had Kamala on, and I wanted you all to see that exchange. So Sam, if you could get that ready. This is basically Rachel Maddow saying, time out. Essentially, if that would have been somebody on the right that had said I wasn't going to select them because they were gay, there would be explosions everywhere, figuratively speaking. But this is how it was handled between two people on the left. Play it, Sam.
Well, let me ask you a politics question. I mentioned in the intro tonight that you say in the book really bluntly that your personal first choice for your running mate would have been Pete Buttigieg, and you praise him effusively. You say he would have been an ideal partner if I were a straight man. And you say effectively that demographically it was too much to ask of the American people to ask them to elect you with him as your running mate. I wonder if his reaction to that, since this part of the book has come out, if you've had any reflection on that, or I guess I guess I'd ask you to just elaborate on that a little bit. It's hard to hear.
Yeah.
With you running as, you're the first woman elected vice president. You're a black woman and a South Asian woman elected to that high office, very nearly elected president. To say that he couldn't be on the
Very
ticket
nearly,
effectively
my
because he was
butt.
gay is hard to hear.
No. That's not what I said. That he couldn't be on the ticket because he is gay. My point, as I write in the book, is that I was clear that in 107 days, in one of the most hotly contested elections for president of the United States, against someone like Donald Trump who knows no floor, to be a black woman running for president of the United States and as a vice presidential running mate, a gay man, with the stakes being so high, it made me very sad, but I also realized it would be a real risk. No matter how, I've been an advocate and an ally of the LGBT community my entire life.
to
So
say
it
that
wasn't
it's
about,
not
it wasn't about, yeah, right. So it wasn't.
Well, her political acuteness to think that a guy who is the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, is the highest office he ever held, and she didn't have a whole lot of uh, whatever. She didn't have a whole lot to
Acumen.
acumen. That doesn't show me much judgment. I will tell you this. Do you like the term revisionist history?
No, I don't. I mean,
I-
it's happening. If you mean those people who are taking actual history and reshaping it,
Right.
yeah,
That's the whole thing that's
yeah,
happening in textbooks and,
yeah,
and, and
right,
whatnot. So I'm not a fan of revisionist history
right.
at all. But I haven't read the book, obviously. But from the things I've heard, I don't think she's saying anything that's that's not true. She is saying things that did happen. But um, why is she saying them? What is her motive? It's to tell all. It's to it's to paint a better picture of her. You agree with that?
I do agree with that. Here's where, if you think, not you guys, but if we all think critically about what we just heard, the left is beyond obsessed with promoting, supporting, and lifting up the LGBTQ, so on and so forth communities, correct? So, and I believe there are enough people on the right that would say, uh, so I don't care about, I want somebody that's good to run for office. And that's the way I am. Do I want somebody who is gay? There might be gay people that I'm a big fan of now, and will continue being a fan of, whether I knew they were gay or not. That's not what I look at, and I don't think that even should be an issue in somebody. Pete Buttigieg became on the scene because he's articulate, he's somewhat smart, but he's also very dumb. He almost ruined the FFA or FAA. Is that what it is? FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, and he was a disaster as a mayor of South Bend, Indiana. So but what she's saying is that it was too much of a risk for her to get enough support in this country. If in fact it was that close of an election in her mind, which is what they keep saying, she lost all swing states, 7 swing states. She lost the popular election and she got crushed in the electoral college. All right. So she can call it whatever she wants to. She got trampled. But what she's saying is that my party, the party of LGBTQ, me choosing, it would seem like she would get more support from her party, get more people to support. And then maybe because we got to agree that Pete Buttigieg would be a better candidate than Tim Walz, right? I mean, Goofy, the dog Goofy at Disney would be a better candidate than Tim Walz. So I don't get what she's saying. She's making in my opinion, a strong argument here that's backfiring on her. She would have had the support of Buttigieg from her party, and she might have definitely would have gotten more support from those people in the world, in the country, who say, I don't care what somebody's personal life is, but I'm impressed with a guy who's so articulate and sounds smart. if they didn't know anything about Buttigieg, that's what most people would say. And uh, uh, and so to avoid that risk, she goes and she picks, you know, Mo from the Three Stooges, who was a disaster.
Right.
It's
Right.
just it's and she picked Wald to present more of a manly, you know, brawn and some might. And this is a guy who couldn't load a gun. He didn't know anything about vehicles. He didn't. I mean, he looks like not Daffy Duck. Well, what's the guy that used to shoot the Elmer
Yeah.
Fudd?
Yeah.
So I just it's Kamala stuck
Right.
trying to get out of something. And I will just say this: it's entertaining at the least.
And I will close on this note, and people have heard this from me before, but I have a bunch of people in my family who are all of that whole alphabet, different ones, different parts of the alphabet there, and I love them dearly. They are good people,
Hmm.
and I think the LGBTQ uh, group of people in the world has become far more prominent, far more prevalent, far more uncloseted, far more accepted than ever. But I continue to wonder why what happens in somebody's bedroom becomes important enough that it's something that you feel a need to
Yeah,
talk about, and that it's even an issue.
yeah. So people tell you what they are, knowing that it's a risk for them, and then moan and bitch and complain because they're getting hammered about what they never should have told you in the first place. I don't care what Pete Buttigieg does. I don't care. I do not care. I don't care about any of that. I just want somebody when it comes to our country that knows how to lead this country and can make it great. Do I want a serial killer doing that? No, I don't. But I, d- when I want us to have a qualified person. That's why like JD Vance so very much and believe he'll be a rock star for 8 years. So there you have it. We got more to talk about, but we're running out of time. So let me tell you what we will have on tap for next Tuesday. Um, we want to talk a bit about uh, Trump's changing his tone with respect to Putin and Russia. It's an interesting discussion because things are happening there that we ought to be aware of and prepare ourselves for. What's the other video, Sam? Oh, I wanted to also share with you something that Kamala has in her book about her STARS project, which is this effort she was making to identify who she believes are stars in the Democrat Party, and then try to mentor them, if you can imagine that. And that one of them is somebody that we talk about a lot on this show. So we'll have more on that. We'll have some videos about it as well. So lots more to talk about. Also want to talk about next week the Mets announcer who had an issue with a Cubs player that chose to go to Charlie's funeral or memorial rather than play a baseball game. So, but it's rhyme time. So, what do you got?
Well, this was first published in the Waxahachie Sun on April 27th, 2021, just a few months after I'd moved to town. And um, let's remember this. If you like this show, remember Grit and Good News would never be here if it wasn't for the Waxahachie Sun in the first place. And,
Yeah.
and our Substack platforms were just moving your writings
Yeah.
from there. And that led to me doing further writing. And
Yeah.
that's all great. So here we go, the paper. Newspapers, some say, are the thing of the past. I, for one, pray that they last. Every morning for all my life, I read of global joys and strife. All the news that's fit to print, you learn about things of which you had not a hint. Remember, the internet version started as print. No logon is needed. Go outside, grab it, and read it. Now I'll break from my rhyme for a very short time. Let me be abundantly clear of a concept I hold dear. George B. Dealey, yes, of Dealey Plaza fame, founded the Dallas Morning News in 1885. His founding principle was that the newspaper must acknowledge the right of the people to get from the newspaper both sides of every important question. Nowadays, your papers are all leaning to the far left or right. You can choose either fight. Same for the electronic media. Just consider the source before believing, of course. I grew up in a family of newspaper readers. My wife, long a teacher, quips, readers are leaders. Today is a great day in my new Waxahachie life. I now get home delivery of the Sun to read with my wife. Well, we don't have the home delivery
No, we don't do
anymore,
that anymore.
but
Still have the print edition.
we still have the print
Yeah,
edition.
I will tell you this. Waxahachie must have a watchdog media, must.
Yeah.
And I will tell you right now, if we didn't in these times, given what I know is going on in some places of government in our community, we would be in rough shape. And so we've got our eye on them, and that's one valuable part of what we do. All right, we got about 4 minutes, so let's
We can
rock
get
and
it
roll.
in. Today
All right.
in history, 6-3 today for the big man. Started out
Nice.
with 0-2.
Uh-oh.
I hate starting tough.
Yeah.
Spanish explorer Vasco Nunez de Balboa crossed the isthmus. I love the word isthmus. Isthmus of Panama and sighted for the bonus. He crossed the Isthmus of Panama and saw
Saw the Alamo. I don't know.
The Alamo?
I don't know what you want, and I don't know. I don't
The-
know.
How about
He
the Pacific
saw-
Ocean?
Oh, okay. Well,
The Pacific Ocean.
hard to miss it.
But we didn't have a canal there. We had an isthmus down
All right,
there, and they made it come out.
1885.
1785.
1513.
Yeah, I remember.
Not
the
long
day.
after
It was
Big
a long time
Christopher.
ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
The first United States Congress adopted 12 amendments. You're going to know all about this in a couple of weeks after
Yeah.
your schooling. Adopted 12 amendments to the Constitution and sent them to the states for ratification.
1778.
1831.
1739.
Oh,
What did you say, Sam?
1778.
If you had a little dyslexia at the end, if you
Yeah.
said 87, you'd have been in. Here we go. The first transatlantic, I was so far off on this, it was ridiculous. The first transatlantic telephone cable officially went into service with a three-way ceremonial call between New York, Ottawa, Canada, and London.
1852.
1933.
1956.
Come on.
You had
Oh
to have
for
that
three.
cable going all the way under the ocean.
That's
Oh
big,
for
yeah.
3, man.
9 black students who had been forced to withdraw from Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas because of unruly white crowds were escorted to class by members of the U.S. Army's 101st Airborne Division and the National Guard. It's not the first time we've used the National Guard to
That's right.
quell violence.
1964.
1959.
57, you're both
Oh, we got
wrong.
it.
Finally.
Good jobs. Good jobs. Wrong again here. 140 people were killed when a Pacific Southwest. Do you ever remember an airline called Pacific Southwest?
Mm.
Boeing 727 and a private plane collided over San Diego.
1969.
1978.
1978 for the bonus. Was that a
Booyah.
wild guess or did you?
I lived out there.
There
Really?
you go. There you
That's
go.
not fair.
I was a
Nice.
junior in high school. I remember.
Oh,
That's not fair.
well, you needed that bonus badly.
Oh, I
Here
got
we
two
go.
of them.
You said
Yeah.
you don't remember an airline.
I don't remember the name of the airline. I remember
Oh.
the crash.
Yeah, Pacific Southwest. President Barack Obama speaking to the UN General Assembly, just like Trump just
Yeah.
did, pledged U.S. support for Syrians trying to oust President Bashar Assad, calling him a dictator who massacres his own people.
2008.
2010.
12, you're both in there. And we close with skipper Jimmy Spithill and Oracle Team USA won the America's Cup with one of the greatest comeback in sports history, speeding past Dean Barker and the Emirates Team New Zealand in the winner-take-all race 19 on San Francisco Bay. This is a sailing race.
21.
18.
13.
Wow.
You missed.
I did miss.
I'm 5-3. What were you? 6-3.
6-3.
Very good, Jeff. Did you didn't have any bonuses in there? Or you did?
The Pacific Ocean.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Before we close, I want to tell you about our sponsor, Hooser Custom Meats. That is HOOSER. Offers 2 product lines, both of which have Angus beef genetics. Wagyu beef is a cross between an Angus cow and a
You keep
full-blooded Wagyu.
it's
Wagyu.
Wagyu.
Wagyu. Okay,
Wagyu.
Wagyu. The Hoosier Reserve line is an Angus or Angus Hereford cross. You can get all kinds of stuff at Hoosier. Things like a variety of cuts, including ground beef, patties, cutlets, fajita meat, chili, and stew meat, as well as strips, ribeye, and fillets. There are all kinds of stuff in this meat. I haven't had it yet, but will. This meat is supposed to be really, really good. So we want to make sure you know about HooserCustomMeats.com, HOOSER custommeats.com, or call 903-688-1446, 903-688-1446 for additional information. Hoosier Custom Meats. So there you have it.
And please, go ahead.
No. Oh, yeah, I got it. We'll be back next Tuesday at noon to 1 o'clock. You can follow us on Substack.com under Grit and Good News, where you get all kinds of content that we have every Monday and Friday. So thank you for being here today.
And all our people in our town, our state, our country, and across the world listening to us, please make it a great day and try to put a smile on somebody's face today. We hope we've done that for you. Boom.
Amen.